Hello, and welcome to a Centipede Press unboxing. This one's, my friends, is Let's Go Play at the Adams'by Mendal Johnson. Mendal W Johnson? He has a middle initial in there somewhere. With all Centipede titles, you get a larger box than you necessarily need, but it's because Jared reuses the boxes, and it looks like we might have some packing material in here. He uses lots of bubble wrap, and he'll sometimes throw in some goodies. What do we have here? Apart from dust jackets. Look at that, lots of bubble wrap. We'll get to the book in a second. Let's look at our goodies. We have a dust jacket for the Masters of the Weird Tale, Stefan Grabinski. These are the oversized editions. I don't own any signed Masters of the Weird Tale. They're exquisite editions. I do own one volume of the Fritz Lieber and one volume of the Ramsey Campbell, both of which are unsigned. Speaking of Fritz Lieber, Swords Against Wizardry. Oh, can't show you that. Don't look there. Don't rewind. Shield your eyes. Number 4 and number 2. Swords Against Death. There we go. Very nice. Swords Against Death is one of the 2 volumes I don't have. I don't own volumes 1 and 2 because I didn't jump on that train fast enough. Anyways, the book of the hour is right here. Let's Go Play at the Adams, number 68, which matches a lot of my other Centipede Press titles. And I've never read this novel, which, is kind of like my catchphrase, because it tends to happen with a lot of the novels that I unbox here. I haven't read them yet. But I know that this is extreme horror. Like, very extreme. So the dust jacket is kind of modeled after the original. I don't even want to say original dust jacket, because I imagine it's probably a paperback originally of the babysitter tied in the chair. So all is not well in the Adams house. Mr. and Mrs. Adams have gone off to, a night out, leaving the babysitter with the kids. And, the kids have some plans of their own. Dust jacket here by Dan Rempel. I like the styling. It matches the Keeper of the Children and one from earlier this year, which is not Johnson. This is Johnson's only novel. It's weird to not have any blind stamping. He's doing a lot of blind stamping lately. No stamping on that, but nice cloth bound cover. Got the stamping on the spine there. Mendal W Johnson. I keep wanting to call him Wendell, but that's obviously not his name. His only novel about the kids, the Adams children, who decide to, kidnap. That's not really kidnap, but to tie up and have their fun with the babysitter. Annapolis novelist interprets his book. Okay, this is an actual news article. That's an interesting end paper. He was born in Tulsa in 1928. He died in 1976. This was his only published novel in 1974. Be very interesting to see if the other novels ever see light of the day. I doubt it will, being many years later. There's the original cover. There it is, right there. A novel of lingering horror. I think this is kind of a precursor to like the extreme horror that Richard Lehman would dive into, Jack Ketchum would dive into. But like I said, I've never read this one. I've read a little bit of Lehman, not a ton. I've read a little bit of Ketchum, but not a ton. So interesting to see kind of one of the progenitors of the extreme horror genre. Introduction by Stefan Dziemianowicz. I probably butchered the hell out of that. And I can't recall if there was interior artwork. There's not interior artwork. It's just the jacket artwork by Dan Rempel. Introduction here, of course. It's actually different paper stock. You see some of the original cover there before you get into the novel proper, which has 5 kids, based on the way that looks. So no interior artwork, but that's A-okay. Got a nice neutral paper tone, decent size margins. Beautiful production, what you would expect from Centipede Press. Just all around, nice little production. And finally, when we get to the back, we have the actual signatures. There we go. Signed by Stefan Dziemianowicz and Dan Rempel. No, sometimes he includes a facsimile signature by the author. No facsimile signature here by Johnson, possibly because he might not be able to find one. You never know. Oh, and on the back of that is the original artwork again. And then the same article in the back end papers. Very, very nice production. I mean, you can't go wrong with Centipede Press in general. They put out Jared, it's a one-man operation, puts out one hell of a product for the price point he puts them out. Some are priced higher, like those Masters of the Weird Tale, the dust jacket I got the Grabinski dust jacket for. Some of those are priced a little bit higher, but you can see the quality in those higher books. I have some of the higher books, like Dune. I've unboxed Dune on this channel, and it is absolutely stunning. This past weekend, a new title was announced that was available for pre-order, which was The Long Walk by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. So I grabbed myself a copy of that. It doesn't actually release until February of 2023. The signed copies, now, little side note there, signed is not signed by Stephen King. It's signed by Bev Vincent, Jim and Ruth Keegan, I believe, did the art. And I feel like there was someone else who was signed by it, but I'm drawing a blank. But it's not signed by Stephen King. Signed copies, which are in a slipcase, are sold out. But as of right now, me recording this, I believe there are still unsigned copies available, which are at a lower price point, very affordable. The signed copies are almost like 3 times the price. But the lower price point for the trade copies are still available as of this recording. So you should get on that and try to buy yourself a copy. I mean, it's the first standalone hardcover of The Long Walk. So that right there should be very exciting to King collectors. And given the quality of the Centipede Press titles, it is going to be well worth the price. And this is not the first Stephen King title done by Centipede Press. He did Salem's Lot many years ago. That one was a little more controversial. It looks like a beautiful book. I've never been able to afford it. But I know Stephen King himself wasn't fond of it. It was too large for him. He felt it was too large of a publication. But you can find copies of that for much pricier online. There were signed copies signed by Stephen King for that one, which are going to cost you probably a couple $1,000s these days. Way too out of my price range. But anyways, The Long Walk, you should buy a trade copy. Signed copies of Let's Go Play the Adams are still available as of this recording as well. And you can get your nice little book like this. But as I mentioned, it is extreme horror. So if you are not a fan of extreme horror, this probably isn't for you. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and we'll see you around next time.